So I did a little bit of a research, and there happens to be more than 23,000 TEDx and TED Talks combined that is out there to motivate you. And one scroll in the internet, especially of the social media, and then you will be given an array of things to choose from, like the next best destination to go to, the next restaurant to try, the luxuries to be had. There are so many things that you need to live a fulfilled life. It's almost like the people and places are completely pulling you from all directions, always influencing you, but never inspiring you. So today I've come here with a rather odd mission to de-influence you and even demotivate you to a certain extent. But don't worry, I hope to give you the most motivational speech today. So, are you guys ready? So, coming on to the first stop, the young girl and her grand purpose. So, when I was growing up, this idea, or let's say this narrative of having one grand purpose in our life was embedded in me. Somebody told me, and the idea was immediately sold, that every human being has one big grand purpose, and that we must chase it continuously until we find it. And being this bright-eyed, active, independent girl that I always was, I was in a mission. I was in a mission to find the purpose of my life. All right, the next slide reads, the quote that flipped the switch. So when I was growing up, I was a rather curious girl too, very active, outdoorsy, and I used to read a lot of books, I think, for my age at that time. And I feel I'm lucky because kids of this generation perhaps don't read as many books as we got to because we didn't have social media back then growing up. So when reading this particular magazine that used to be handed out when I was in school, it was called The Quotes, there was this one quote that really rattled me. And this one quote would be the basis of the life that I would build in. The quote read, on your deathbed, you will not regret the things you did, but the things you did not. So immediately I was in a mission to keep doing things and not missing out on life. Every day was a bucket list for me, to do this, to make myself better, to do this job, that work. It was just a constant competition that I took on, that I just had to be this overdreamer, overachiever, and succeed in all of it. Then, my long list of did it started. I was in a mission to go after everything that I've ever wanted. When I was growing up, I was a shy girl, but it was in my high school that I actually spread my wings and took the dive of that expression of freedom and creativity. In my +2 was the first time I took on theatrics in school. Wow. Theatrics in school. That was also the first time I sang, I performed, I danced. And that was also the year I was studying journalism and English as my major subjects because I was a very self-aware kid and I knew that I did not excel in mathematics or science. And guess what? As a 17-year-old studying in class 11 perhaps, I saw this ad that was calling in for reporters in a national daily. I applied for it. And boom, I got it. And that is how I started this entire journey of feeling if I chase something enough with my whole heart, I'm gonna get it. And I did, and I'm very thankful for that life. After that, immediately, I was very much into sports. My school, particularly, was not very encouraging of sports, but I loved basketball, and I felt like if I could play national level basketball, that would be a dream come true. And boom, that dream also came true. And like this, I think I jumped into a rat race that I was not prepared for. So, I was in this rat race, and I was working jobs and doing the things that I loved, from singing, dancing, performing, going after my dream job as a reporter. I even took on me this rather a lofty dream of going into a completely different territory than how I was, something that was so far off from my personality. As you may have already noticed, I have this very tomboyish mannerisms, and I grew up like one. So I thought if I got into something like pageants, which is a very feminine environment, I would learn something too. A decision I regret today, but I would say it is a very important thread in the tapestry of my life. I did join the pageants and also won some, lost some. And what else? I wanted to be so many things. I wanted to be a model. I did model in so many of my music videos. I wanted to be an RJ, a VJ. I wanted to head an editorial team of the National Daily. I got to do that as well. I did so many things. But there were some setbacks and some losses too in that process, which is an inevitable part of our life. But not all losses are bad, you know. Some rejections are redirections, like, for example, this very silly little thing. I had also, on the side of doing all of these things that I mentioned, I was also preparing myself to become an air hostess, can you believe? So I did take courses in it, and when Qatar Airways opened a vacancy for their air hostess something, I went for it with this fully confident young woman ahead and gave my interview, fully knowing that I will be selected. But that day was like a crash of my confidence when I didn't get selected. I was so sad back then. But now that I remember and look back, I feel like it was definitely a redirection, because had I been selected in that dream of mine, I wouldn't have lived the life that I get to live here as a singer, songwriter, free-spirited person. And incidentally, it was only yesterday that we landed here in Kathmandu, in Qatar Airways, and I watched these air hostesses with so much admiration. The hard work that they do and all that they are, I could never be. So you see, sometimes rejections are redirections. And there were other setbacks too that completely shaped the personality in me. For example, I got fired from a job that I had built from scratch to the top, and I was the head of the entire department. And I got fired for simply having strong ethics and morals about my work. And there was this time when I was severely bullied. That's too severely bullied by the internet from my own ethnic group, only because I put out an opinion that clashed with theirs. That was a time during my 20s, and also I don't know if the data is true, if there's any data at all. It's possible that I was one of the first people on the growing internet Nepali scene to be harassed like that. And yes, it broke many pieces of me as a young, impressionable woman, and it was a difficult time. And also, because of social media, there is this mounting pressure for me as a singer-songwriter as well. What started as this passionate dream to just write songs, write your opinions, your feelings out in a song, and put it out as a form of art, has now become so commercial that over the past few years, I have deliberately stopped putting out music because of the sheer fear of judgment. You know, you're either TikTok famous or a hopeless failure. Those are the only two labels that we get. So the fear of judgment has stopped me for so long. And in all of that, I still question, so what is the purpose of my life after all? They said, chase your dreams. I did. They said, go after things that make you happy. And I did. And there was this, one of my favorite authors named Jack Canfield, he had said or proposed that to find the purpose of a life, you need to go back to your childhood. Go back to your childhood, be that 5-year-old kid again, close your eyes, and close your eyes and really think whatever makes that kid the most happiest doing, that is your purpose of life. And I did that too. Whenever I go back and close my eyes and see myself as this 5-year-old girl, I remember that the most fun that I've ever had is singing, performing, dancing, being on stage. And I did that too. And the more I chased after my dreams, the more I chased after that purpose, I felt even more hollower with every chase. I keep looking back for the slides, which I know is not there. So anyway, moving on to the next slide, the hoax of the one big purpose. So navigating my life from the 20s now into my 30s, there is one realization that I have had. And I think that is every human being having just one big purpose is a hoax. is a marketing hoax. Because how can we, multi-layered, multi-ethnic, multicultural, ever-growing, evolving human beings have just one big purpose? It just doesn't make sense. And imagine the pressure that we put on ourselves to get that next shiny thing, to go to the country, to get the visa of the country that we want to buy the new vehicle, to be that another version of us just waiting. It just feels like success and happiness is just one step away. But every time we reach that step, there's another step waiting for us. And it's a constant cycle, a vicious cycle of never being happy, maybe collecting and accumulating so many things, but never truly being happy. The real problem with the purpose chase is that we are jumping from one purpose, one goal to another. We're trying to buy things, go to places, eat food in restaurants, and do everything everybody asks us to be and do, but forgetting to really live our lives in the present. I think that's what we're missing out on. And that is the one lesson that I've learned in my life, to truly live in this moment. So today, I'm Samriddhi Rai, an artist, singer, performer, a chaser of many things, a racer of many races, asking you to turn inward, come home to yourself, be present, and truly live this moment. Truly breathe life into this moment, because this is all that matters. All the successes, all the awards, all the likes, all the views that everybody else gives you or your family gives you, all the claps, all the accolades from the people around you, these are happiness, but very momentary happiness. It is not a long-lasting happiness. So I ask you to bring all that energy back to yourself and put your hands in your heart. Can we do that? Put your hands in your heart, in your chest. Bring back all the energy that you've ever given to everybody around you. And take a long breath and say that I am enough. This life is complete. And truly thank for this life. Because reaching the next destination, the next mountaintop is not important. What is important is living the small moments that is in between. Perhaps calling your mom and saying you had your lunch for the day, or spending time with your nieces and nephews and your pets, giving a smile to the stranger. That is what matters. That is what real happiness looks like. So I've realized over these years that the real purpose of life is simply to live fully, deeply, one moment at a time. And that's it. Thank you.